And so we actually decided we were going to do something a little bit different before we get into our main points, and just kind of have a little bit more of a discussion on the general kind of the premise of the movie. And so what if humanity comes to nearly perfect genetic testing and genetic engineering? And so really the movie opens up with two quotes, one directly from the Bible. So one, if you're a Christian and watching this movie, that should automatically make you like sit up straight and go, all right, I actually have to pay attention, really pay attention in this movie, because they're literally trying to use my worldview to justify something that they're trying to say in this movie. So it starts with opening words is, consider God's handiwork. Who can straighten what he hath made crooked? And that's from Ecclesiastes 7:13. And the second quote is from Willard Galen, is, I not only think that we will tamper with Mother Nature, I think Mother wants us to. And so what we're going to discuss just briefly here is, what do we think of those quotes? On the surface level interaction with the world, with this world of Gattaca. And with that is like, what would we as parents do if we were in the shoes of these types of parents in the future? So,
and all of us are parents. Happen to
parents.
on this host all have young kids. So it's maybe a little more pressing or relevant to the three of us than it may be to everyone listening. But honestly, for many listening, it can hit close to home.
So no, go ahead, Miles. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I remember a moment when we had one of our first ultrasounds of my son. The doctor said, "Oh, here is a marker that is related to a certain probability of him having Down syndrome." And they were like, "Do you want any more genetic testing?" And my wife were like, "Nope, nope, I don't even want to be tempted with this." And this is the type of thing that is relevant to any parent in the modern medical system and anybody actually voting around these times. And so, man, it's a timely movie.
Yeah,
no,
for sure.
So like my thoughts is, so most people in my life know this, but most listeners probably don't, unless you listen to the Coda episode. So I actually literally am an invalid. I was born. I have.
Whose identity did you steal?
Yeah, it's like I have a genetic disorder, hemophilia. So I was, it's genetic. My mother was a first generation mutation carrier. And so and then hemophiliacs are about 1 in every 5,000 births. And so as someone who is literally an invalid, this kind of world where we're selecting out human beings because of predispositions, it kind of frightens me. Because that's the one thing, is like, it's one thing to be like, oh, let's go ahead and, if you could without destroying whatever, let's go ahead and eliminate this disorder. What are you actually doing to someone's personality when you're doing that? Or if you just, we do that already through abortion, just eliminating everyone that has this certain disorder. Well, what are we doing to society now that we're eliminating this people group completely just because they were born defective or invalid? So I think one of the things that we also need to think about, and I think about this a lot, is we need to think about this a lot more in context of like the body of Christ, like how everyone impacts, and it's like a synergistic type of relationship. And a lot of times I see people who don't have a disorder saying how the world would be better off if people that had disorders weren't around. Or I saw it, unfortunately, I saw it today in a stupid meme group on Facebook. Someone posted something about this person sacrificing so much for their child who had, who was disabled. And many people in the comments were like, yeah, I just pull the plug type of thing. And it's like, and it's that type of mindset. So this thing was like, we don't live in the world of Gattaca right now, but we kind of do. We do have that mindset where we're not looking at each other as this body of Christ. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, does the eye say does the eye say, I'm not part of the body because I'm not the hand? Or for me, I always joke and call myself the left pinky toe of the of the body of Christ. Am I still part of the body? Just because I have this disorder, hemophilia, should I be not allowed to have any children because I could pass that disorder on. I could pass that disease on, and for the species to be more superior or be best, what would that entail? Now, as far as the thing about the being in the parents' shoes is what the doctor says to the parents when they're working on Anton is textbook emotional manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just straight up emotional manipulation is like, well, don't you want what's best for your child? I.e. saying, like, if you don't listen to me as your doctor, as your local geneticist, you're not going to have what's best for your child. And we see this in the trans movement right now, where would you rather have a dead son or a live daughter? That's the rhetoric that's out there right now. So with that, those were my initial jumping off thoughts and stuff. So